People want to believe in aliens, sometimes so badly, they'll ignore every red flag just to keep the mystery alive. But what if some of it isn't just fantasy? Over the years, the Joe Rogan experience has become a strange kind of gateway. Not just for out-there ideas or tinfoil hat talk, but for real conversations with scientists, military insiders, former intelligence agents, and the occasional abductee, all laying out stories that are as unbelievable as they are hard to ignore. Some claim the government is hiding the truth. Others say aliens are already here, just keeping their distance. And a few insist they've seen the proof with their own eyes, or worse, lived it firsthand. But with every episode, one thing becomes clear. When it comes to the possibility of extraterrestrial life, even the smartest voices in the room don't have all the answers. So, let's take a look at the most jaw-dropping alien discussions ever aired on Rogan's mic, and ask ourselves, what do they know that we don't? If there's one place on Earth that defines the alien mystery, it's Area 51. And few people have tried harder to crack that mystery than George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. Knapp is a veteran journalist who first brought Bob Lazar's story to the world, the man who claimed he worked inside a hidden facility near Area 51, reverse engineering alien spacecraft for the US government. Corbell, a filmmaker and relentless UFO investigator, picked up that thread decades later. Together, they sat across from Rogan and unspooled a web of claims that sound like science fiction, but haven't gone away. They talk about underground labs, exotic materials, documents that vanished, people who refused to talk, and some who suddenly couldn't. One of the most chilling moments comes when Knapp recalls a source telling him, point blank, that there was a live being out there. Not a theory, not a metaphor. A literal, biological entity being studied. Whether he believed it or not, he couldn't shake the way the man said it. Corbell adds fuel to the fire with stories that feel pulled from a classified script. Briefings, compartmentalized knowledge, layers of secrecy that go far beyond typical military protocol. And then there's the weird part. Multiple witnesses saying different things, all while insisting they saw the same program. Was it confusion or intentional distortion? What's strange is how casual they sound, as if secrecy is just a part of the landscape. As if the most outlandish parts aren't even the hardest to believe. It's the fact that the story never changes. And while they admit that hoaxes and lies flood the UFO world, they're quick to point out something darker. Sometimes, disinformation is the point. The more noise there is, the easier it is to bury the truth. Rogan doesn't give them an easy pass. He presses, asks for proof, challenges the inconsistencies. But the more they talk, the more one uncomfortable possibility takes shape. This isn't just a cover-up. It might be a decades-long campaign to make sure no one ever asks the right questions. If aliens ever do make contact, will they come in peace, or treat us the way we've treated each other? That's the question Stephen Hawking wrestled with in his final years. And when Joe Rogan sat down with astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, it came up in a way that stopped the room cold. Hawking warned that if extraterrestrial visitors ever arrived, they might not be curious scientists or more peaceful explorers. They might be conquerors, colonizers, the kind of force that doesn't knock on the door, just kicks it in. Tyson took that fear seriously. He drew a direct comparison to Earth's own violent history, how civilizations with power and resources have wiped out others for centuries. And he pointed out something chilling. If a species is aggressive enough to dominate, it might not survive long enough to master interstellar travel. In other words, the kind of alien civilization that could reach us might be the kind that doesn't want to. He framed it like a cosmic paradox. Maybe only peaceful species make it far enough to travel the stars. Maybe warlike civilizations destroy themselves first. It's not just science, it's sociology on a galactic scale. And yet, beneath that hopeful logic, there's still unease. Because Hawking's warning wasn't based on paranoia. It was based on pattern. And Tyson admits, we don't know what's out there. If they come, we don't set the rules. But not every expert on Rogan's show is talking about faraway threats. Some believe alien life may already be much closer than we think. It starts the way a lot of these stories do, with someone who's clearly not telling you everything. Mike Baker is a former CIA officer who spent years in the shadows, working counterterrorism and counter-narcotics operations across the globe. So, when he shows up on Joe Rogan's podcast, people expect secrets. And while he doesn't spill any top-secret files, what he does share is just enough to raise eyebrows. Rogan presses him hard about UFOs, asking whether Baker believes there are credible sightings, like the infamous Tic Tac encounter reported by Navy pilot Commander David Fravor. Baker nods toward it. "If I had to point to one," he says, "I'd say Fravor." But then his tone shifts. He starts deflecting, talking vaguely about experimental aircraft and global military competition. Some objects, he admits, might be alien, but others could be black-budget tech, or something we just don't understand yet. It's a classic intelligence move. Answer the question without really answering it. What really stands out is Baker's discomfort. At times, he seems genuinely torn, as if he's caught between what he knows and what he's allowed to say. And that's what makes the interview so compelling. He never claims to have seen a UFO. He never says aliens are real, but he also never laughs it off. Instead, he hints at something deeper, that if there's anything to know, it's not the public who gets told first. And that leads us to a far more chilling idea. Not every alien conversation on Rogan's show dives straight into flying saucers and abductions. Some start in the lab, with biology, physics, and a quiet sense of inevitability. Professor Brian Cox doesn't claim to have seen anything. He doesn't speculate about interstellar civilizations or secret military programs. Instead, he focuses on what should exist, and where we're most likely to find it. He believes the real breakthrough won't come from a crashed UFO, but from something much smaller, microbes. Cox calmly explains how life could already exist on Mars, or on the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, places like Europa, where deep under frozen surfaces, liquid oceans might harbor primitive organisms. Not little green men, but alien bacteria, living proof that we're not alone. Joe, of course, tosses out a wild hypothetical. What if we found a frog on the moon? Cox laughs, but he doesn't dismiss the possibility of surprise. He's open-minded, but methodical. It's not about believing, it's about evidence. What makes his appearance so compelling isn't sensationalism, it's clarity. He reminds viewers that space is vast, life is resilient, and the real story might be hiding not in our skies, but just beneath the surface of a distant moon. Still, for every scientist looking through a telescope, there's someone else digging into classified hangars. While some stories live in the shadows, Commander David Fravor's account exploded in daylight, backed by video, radar, and the Pentagon itself. Fravor is a retired U.S. Navy pilot. In 2004, during a routine training mission off the coast of San Diego, he and his team were redirected to investigate something unusual. What they found was impossible. A white capsule-shaped object, smooth, featureless, about the size of a small jet, hovering and darting in the air without wings, engines, or any visible means of propulsion. It dropped from 80,000 feet to sea level in seconds, then took off again like it was playing with gravity. No sonic boom, no heat trail, just gone. The now famous Tic Tac UFO became one of the first pieces of footage acknowledged by the Department of Defense as real and unexplained. And when Fravor sat down with Joe Rogan, his calm military precision only made the story more chilling. He wasn't guessing, he wasn't speculating, he was there. Even stranger, he says sightings like this aren't rare, pilots just don't talk about them. What struck Rogan, and what sticks with viewers, is how normal Fravor seems. He doesn't act like a believer. He acts like a professional, describing something no one trained him to understand. And if he can't explain what he saw, then what else has the military kept under wraps? By now, one thing's clear. The line between speculation and experience isn't as sharp as we think. Some guests speak in theories and probabilities. Others speak from memory. But whether it's a physicist crunching numbers or a former agent dodging direct answers, they all circle the same unsettling truth. Something is happening, and no one fully understands it. And the deeper these conversations go, the less they sound like entertainment, and the more they start to feel like pieces of something bigger. Because what comes next? That's when the stories stop sounding like rumors, and start sounding like warnings.